students have really, on the whole, risen to the challenge of being able to adapt to the way to the way they create practical work, which has been incredibly hard for the third years. Um, a couple have procrastinated and panicked a little bit, but overall, some really outstanding attitudes. For instance, I spoke to the HE team this morning, and we were all asked to put forward. We were all asked to put forward like people or groups that we thought they'd really done well for us, and I told them about the second years this year, um, actually saying to me, look, if the third years want to jump in and do an end of year show next year with us, they're more than welcome to do it. And I think it's gestures like that that are really helping the whole situation at the moment, and it's realizing that we're all in this together, as cheesy that might sound, but none of us have ever faced this. We're all different generations, like I'm in my 40s, you guys are younger, we've all got mums, dads, and granny and granddad and stuff, but most of us haven't really encountered anything like this before. So I've been really surprised by how well a lot of the students have adapted in this time of crisis, really.
I think sort of junior and up, like higher classes going up to juniors are coping very well. They've got an understanding of what's going on. The younger ones are not so sure because they can't imagine what it can be. It's just a word to them. Although we do make fun jokes of it, and we've got steps that they go on towards the toilet, so they're not together. We seat them apart on tables, so they sort of understand what's going on. There's a lot of input from video games within the TV because obviously they can't use IT equipment at the moment. So we're doing things via the whiteboard and via the projector. They're still getting their playtimes and PE and music, most of their general lessons. Probably not exactly the same as it would have been. The children at home that don't come in are getting a regular call from the staff at school. The teacher, mainly, of each class will phone all her children over a period, but at least once a week, to find out how they're doing, to see if there's any help they require with certain subjects, to help them to log into certain IT programs. So yeah, they're getting a lot of work at home, and any actual concerns like over their well-being, the children and the parents. So that has been dealt with very well. Playing games with glitter, passing the glitter along, and the glitter is representing germs on hands being passed along, and if they pass it along a group of sort of 8 children, the last person has still got glitter on the hands, which to them is representing germs. So this way it's a good thing for them. And not all continue washing of hands before lunch, after lunch, regular activities in the afternoon, washing hands is all being done.
University Centre South Essex is pretty unique in the support that we give the students. Nikki Hill, Abigail, all the people that in HE Sport have been incredibly supportive to a lot of the students. That we've had online seminars, talks, and I also think what really helps our HE students is we've got quite a nice tight knit HE team. So that kind of support and being able to approach people with different staff with different problems, talk to each other about different issues that might go on. So I think the support has always been in place. Obviously, there's been that transition where we've had to do all sort of a lot of our lessons online, but I think teachers have really persevered with technical issues, with students that maybe have not engaged. But I think actually having that strong framework that was set out in place in the first place has made these past 2 months a little bit more bearable because the network had already been there, it had already been kind of established. And I even from teaching through from, I've been there about 5 years now, teaching right through from FE to HE, and I've taught at 4 or 5 institutions, and I have to say, and it'd be easy for me to say this now, but it's absolutely true. I do think it's the most supportive framework that I've ever sort of seen set up there. I do think it's the most supportive framework that I've ever seen set up in an institution.
I feel like they could definitely do more to help. They have offered like one-to-one sessions this week, but it's right before exams, and I feel like they definitely could have offered more support and like one-to-one sessions when this whole situation started. But also I kind of get why they haven't, because the situation's affected everyone in a bad way, really, like working from home and stuff.
So yeah, I'm just halfway through my MA at the moment. So during this whole crisis, I'm able to see it from 2 completely different perspectives, because I'm on like a student WhatsApp chat at the moment. So it's really bizarre being like a student, hearing everybody like moaning about stuff and everything. But I'm always the person like, hey, come on, he didn't mean to get that deadline date wrong or whatever, So there's that whole side of being a student, but also I've seen an incredible amount of hard work by the teachers trying to put in place different structures and different frameworks for the students, and different lessons online. All of that takes a lot of time. But it has hit my MA. One of my MA classmates had a massive breakdown, completely capitulated, and said that he was going to leave the course and he didn't want to do it anymore. But partly that was down to not getting himself organised in the first place, and I do think there is that element. There are unfortunately like a pocket of us, whether it be educational or not, where people will use this crisis as an excuse for maybe not wanting to be where they want to be, right? Okay. But it has really affected me. A lot of the things I've had to do have been online, and I did a big assessment a couple of weeks ago where I submitted something. And it's like what we're doing today, it's okay. We can do the job right by a Skype interview, but obviously it'd be a little bit better in person. Maybe we could do a few different camera angles and sort of stuff like that. And the online thing has been brilliant. I mean, can you imagine this had happened 10, 15 years ago before the advent of the internet? With, it's pretty terrifying, really, right? We didn't have Wi-Fi or the internet to tell us, to inform us of news and stuff. So yeah, it's impacted me, but I've really taken, on a personal note, like I said, I do have the odd day where you get yourself really, really down, but there's a lot of people in far worse predicaments than me, and all these statistics coming out about people that live in domestic abusive relationships that have to stay with people during lockdown. People that have lost their jobs and that are unable to buy their family food, people that are being kicked out of their living quarters because they can't pay rent. So 99% of the time, I'm able to kind of reevaluate it, and think, actually, it could be a lot worse, And I look at this in some kind of perverse way. I look at COVID-19, I think this is just a little bit of a taster of what potentially could happen if there was a bigger pandemic. And maybe it's because I'm a creative, and we're all creatives, but for me, truly, so for me, a lot of the best creativity comes from disruption, and the way sometimes we can be coasting along with something, but when something appears broken or looks broken, becomes broken, sometimes that can help manifest really cool creative ideas. So I'm trying to be really positive about it. I'm trying to look at this from a better perspective than some, I would guess. Yeah.
But personally wise, it hasn't really affected that much, because up until last week we were still on site, we were working down at South Wales at a venue that was earmarked to be one of the NHS temporary hospitals. So completing some buildings down there and doing some roof repairs. So that kept us busy till to say last week. So and we've got further orders going out as well. This week we've still got a lot of admin to do, so we're working on that. We've only got one employee on furlough at the moment, and the rest are still working. Yeah. We have 5-point PPE as standard, which is safety footwear, safety hat, safety goggles, gloves, and a high visibility vest. Then there's wet weather wear. If it's wet, we need to have raincoats and the like. So we certainly wear those. The complication that we have with wearing masks on the site is we have to wear glasses because there's a very high risk of debris getting into the eyes, and we have had a couple of instances where people have had swarf from tech screws going into their eyes. So we certainly need to wear the glasses, and wearing a mask steams up the glasses, so then that is problematic. We just make sure that it's regular cleaning hands, keep your distance, and that's the best that we can do. With regard to training side of things, it's only a secondary type business, and it's ordinarily at the beginning of the year, January, February, March sort of time. So we did some training, delivered some training in January and February, but from then on we haven't delivered any training, which is quite peculiar really, because companies that are furloughing staff, one of the allowances where they can still be working in essence is to be doing training, and we've not had any calls from any clients or prospective clients for training in that period. So I presume people that are on furlough, they're just furloughing them and they're not delivering any training, which is quite strange because it's an ideal opportunity to get their staff trained, and they haven't got to pay for their time. They only have to pay for the training. So it's quite strange in that respect.